Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again for another Film Fanatic show. It is Wednesday at about 11:39. Pretty hot summer day today. Beautiful weather. Been it's been really consistent. I just came back a few days ago from a tour, and we have one more show to go. The last couple of shows have been have been in Maine. We had a show on Monday, and then a show tonight, and then the tour will be officially over. So we had the last couple of shows uh, with my friend Troy Youngblood. It was super fun. It was a good, quite an adventure. Quite an adventure. We went down south. The temperatures were really hot down there. It was like 100 degrees a couple of the dates. Bookhead Sweet Tooth is the name of the band, and so yeah, it's pretty wild that it's coming to an end. Tonight is the last show, and the last two shows have been here in Maine. So it's been great being able to be back home and resume making some videos. So today's show is on a movie that I bought about. I'm trying to think. It was probably a few weeks ago, actually, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was my last trip up to. I was in Bangor, Maine. I had a doctor's appointment, and then and the doctor, the doctor's office is actually really close to my favorite place, and that is Bull Moose Music. So I was gonna go after my appointment and then go to work from there, but then I realized I'm gonna be cutting it pretty close on time, so I ended up going before my appointment. And I didn't have all that much time, but I, wanted to make the trip worthwhile instead of just going up there for one thing. So I went in and snagged up a pretty decent amount of really awesome films at Bull Moose. And today's show is on one of those movies that I bought. It was super cheap. It was like six. It was basically $6, and it's called "Don't Answer the Phone," and it's amazing. It's an amazing slasher movie that I had never seen before. It's definitely a slasher movie. It's from 1980. It's wild. It's totally a trip. It's it's a slasher movie, but it's very much like a kind of a portrayal of a serial killer. Also, there's definitely aspects of the movie where they really kind of dive into the psychology of a serial killer. There's moments of it where, even though the tone does shift dramatically, especially the second and third act, there's moments of it where it does have a kind of a true crime vibe to it. Something. It's definitely a horror movie, but where it goes into kind of studying the psychology of the murderer or of the killer. There's moments of the film where it kind of reminds me a little bit of Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, which is one of the greatest movies of that kind of genre, where it's based on a real person, Henry Lee Lucas, who was a notorious serial killer. That movie is definitely one of the greatest films in that genre, and it's also one of the most brutal films ever made. But this film, Don't Answer the Phone, has that kind of vibe. It's a little bit more, it's way more campy, and but it has those tones, especially in the beginning of the movie. It's kind of serious. It's pretty disturbing. It was directed by Robert Hammer. A really great movie. I never seen this movie. It stars Michael D. Castle, Nicholas Worth, who plays the lead, James Weston Morrisland, Flo Jerish, and Victoria Mojica. And again, this is a fabulous movie. I definitely consider this to be a super low budget grindhouse slasher movie. This is a really beautiful transfer of this movie. And again, I've never heard of this movie. I got it for like $6. It's funny because the second and third act of the film get really goofy and silly. It like the whole tone. Like it starts off pretty serious, and you're being pulled into this, kind of slasher movie, or it definitely has like that slasher, low budget kind of exploitation vibe, but it's kind of serious. And then like the second or third act, it gets really kind of silly and goofy and almost comical. It's very weird, but I thought it was cool that it went into this direction where I totally didn't expect it to be going. I didn't see it coming as far as the tone kind of shift of the movie. But this transfer of this movie is really, really good. There's an interview with James Westelmerd, who's one of the leads in this film. There's also a couple other special features on here with some of the creators of this film, which I haven't watched or listened to yet. I just finished watching this. I just watched this last night and was really blown away by it. The genre, again, like I've said probably a billion times on this channel, is the slasher genre is my favorite genre of all time. It's I really seek out. I have a really good collection, I think, now of really great horror slasher exploitation movies, and I've been really discovering one movie that I discovered that I had actually heard about, and for various reasons I had just never seen it, and that is The Burning, and that is an amazing, brutal, super gory slasher movie. Really, really good. One of the best ones. And I had heard about it for a few years. And then I bought it. I bought it a couple of months ago, and it's amazing. And again, it was a movie that I had never seen, never even never saw when I was a kid, growing up in the days of the VHS rental time period. This came out right around that same time, 1980. Again, the 70s and 80s, my favorite time period for films, and I really try to seek out really great slasher films, and I've discovered so many great ones that I never knew existed, and there's so many yet to discover, and this was an awesome purchase. I'm super excited. It's really, really good, super entertaining, pretty disturbing, and it has a cool I don't know, it has a cool tonal kind of shift to it, which I really liked. It starts off, with your kind of typical kind of slasher tropes. Great, gritty. It has a great grittiness to it. It's very dirty, and some great kills. And but then it also has this kind of serious thing to it. It's kind of like a true crime kind of vibe. It's kind of like when you compare, say, two movies, like say My Bloody Valentine, the classic Canadian slasher exploitation movie. Take that movie and then you take, say, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Very, very different films. Very, very different. One is like a fictionalized horror movie, and it's a full on kind of slasher experience. The other one, Henry, where it feels more, it's definitely, well, it's based on a true murderer, serial killer, Henry Lucas, but then it has a feel of it where it feels like a documentary almost, but it still has that slasher vibe to it. But very different, two very different styles of filmmaking, two very different kinds of stories. And this Don't Answer the Phone has a little bit of both of those kind of aspects. You have the pure escapism, kind of slasher, thing of where there's, naked women who get killed, and they're in this isolated area and they get picked off one by one, but then it has this kind of serious tone with where it becomes this portrayal of, what could be or what is, a portrayal of a real life serial killer, but then it has this other shift of tone of where it goes into this kind of satirical or goofy. It goes into this really kind of comedic territory, which was not expected, and it's awesome. It's a really great movie. I highly recommend it. I had never seen this movie before, and again, that's one of the things that I've been doing the last couple of years, is really taking more chances as far as buying movies, like just getting things I haven't seen before. I've been buying lots of movies that totally on a whim, and I have really lucked out with buying some really killer movies. So yeah, this is a awesome addition. I can't recommend this movie enough. Don't Answer the Phone, 1980, primetime slasher. So thanks again, and we will see you next time. Peace.